Welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters. We are so honored that you're still staying up with us right now. I had so much fun this past segment, Brother Rafi.
It was so amazing. We were all laughing. I was watching that in the back of the studio, and I was, amazed. It was so funny, Usama. That was great. That was so great. Well, in this part of the show, we're joined by two special guests. I'd like to introduce Brother Zachariah, all the way from the USA. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thanks for joining us in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
And we have Usam all the way from Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum, brother Usam.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you for joining us in the studio today. So, brothers, we're talking about Eid, and I want to get your, opinions and what your Eid's been like. Zachariah, if I start with you, what's your typical Eid like in the USA?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Eid in the US, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful experience, especially having our families and our communities together. Today was my first day praying Eid outside of the US, outside of New York, I should say.
And how did that feel?
A great feeling, minus the family part, but the love and the generosity and the hospitality that I have here with my brothers and friends here, subhanAllah, it's just amazing.
What about the food though? Can you compare from in Egypt and the US? What's the difference?
MashaAllah, today I actually had original, authentic Egyptian food, today and yesterday, alhamdulillah. It was delicious, mashallah.
And what was your favourite? You told me earlier, you said the milk.
Oh, subhanallah, definitely the milk. The milk tops everything. Fresh milk from the farm, from the cow. Warmed up nicely. I think they put in some sugar.
Yes.
Tasted amazing.
Alhamdulillah. It's been an amazing day. Let me ask you, Brother Usam, what's it like Eid in Malaysia? Tell us a little bit about it.
Actually, I'm from Indonesia.
It's my bad. I'm so sorry.
As long as I know about Eid here in Egypt, especially in Middle East, it's totally different from Indonesia, from our country, because we're the largest Muslim population of the world, so we have a tradition and custom and habit in Indonesia. So especially in Eid Fitr, actually Middle East, they concerned about Eid al-Adha. I mean, they're busier in Adha, but in Indonesia, in Eid al-Fitr, is a lot busier. Like people are roving around street and then playing drums. It's called beduk, and then they spread like beer, and then they're making traditional food, and then they go to their family, and it's called pulang kampung, or so they meet the family where exact family,
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's so special because.
Tell us a little bit about the food, though. What's the speciality?
It's called ketupat, the boiled rice, and that is made chewy and springy. So it's ketupat.
SubhanAllah, one of the best things about Eid around the world is that each Muslim country celebrates it in its own flavor. And definitely, there's no better place to be right now to be celebrating Eid than to be in Hajj. And that's where our brother Malik is right now. MashaAllah, my dear brothers and sisters. He is doing our Hajj coverage this year, and he's doing an amazing job with the crew that's there. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring him safely back to the Huda TV studios and very safely back to his family, inshallah. This is the latest report that we have from him that he just filmed. We want to take a look at it. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll be back, inshallah.
Alaikum and happy Eid, and welcome to Huda TV's continued and extended and live coverage, that is, of Hajj 1433, that is 2012. I'm reporting to you now in Mina, in front of, as you can see behind me rather, the Jamarat, and on the other side, inshallah, Mina. It's a Maghrib prayer, as you can hear the people praying as well. Today's, like I said, it is the first day of Eid. Most of the pilgrims now have completed performing the Jamarat, which it means on this day, stoning the largest Jamarat at Aqaba, as well as performing Tawaf and Sa'i and cutting their hair, and released from their pilgrim's clothing, as you can see as I am now. Some of the pilgrims elected last night actually to perform Tawaf, perform Sa'i, that is walk between Safa and Marwa, cut their hair and release themselves from their pilgrim's clothing and perform the Jamarat this morning in their regular clothing. It's an electric atmosphere. It's still very exciting and energetic. You can feel that Hajj now is basically coming to a close. The pilgrims will stay here for tomorrow as well as the day after in order to perform the Jamarat, and after that, Hajj 1433 is over. After that, officially, the pilgrims will have completed all of the Hajj rites. According to the Saudi Gazette, we saw today that the KSA government has released estimated figures, that is, estimated 3 million plus pilgrims here this year around, this time around, this Hajj. But it feels like a lot more. It feels like 5-6 million. Perhaps that's because we have so many pilgrims descending on the same place at the same time, performing the same rituals. Speaking of the KSA government, really, they, as you can see behind me, they have done a wonderful job in organizing this event, which seems to be almost impossible to organize so many people from so many different countries performing the same rites at the same place at the same time. Surprisingly, there was virtually no traffic, pedestrian traffic at the Jamarat al-Aqaba, and last night when we performed Tawaf, there was essentially no traffic. That's right, because people, in order to avoid the traffic, had elected to perform Tawaf before the Jamarat, which is perfectly fine, and it was really amazing how easy it was actually. If you see behind me, there is 4 stories to the Jamarat actually, so the flow of traffic is moving easily and in a comfortable manner, which is really, like I said, a great remark to the KSA government. As you can also see perhaps behind me, a little bit of the brand new metro, the highest capacity metro in the entire world, higher than Hong Kong, which has moved an estimated over 550,000 pilgrims this Hajj in just 3 days. So it truly is an electric experience, an amazing experience. I certainly hope, my dear viewers, that next year you are here with us at Hajj, covering Hajj inshallah, and performing Hajj, that is. Brother Malik Evangelos reporting from Minna for the TV.
That was a report from Brother Malik, filmed today on the day of Eid. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from him and all the Hujjaj this year their good deeds, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Also, Brother Rafi, subhanAllah, we think we have quite a few minutes left in the program, inshallah, just maybe talking about like 3 or 4 minutes. I think maybe we have a final question for our guests.
I've got a huge question for my brother Hussam. I know you've been dying all night to say, Happy Eid to your fellow brothers and sisters. Go ahead, look straight in the camera. And go ahead, brother.
Happy Eid, everyone.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, Brother Zakaria.
Can you say it in your native language? Like, how would you say it in Indonesia?
Selamat Hari Raya.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, so nice. Let me ask you now, Brother Zakaria, all the way from the USA, have you noticed the difference, but this is your first Eid outside the USA, has there been a huge difference?
There's definitely a big difference. Like for example, Eid al-Adha, you see actually, families outside, people outside sacrificing the animals just a few days before Eid even begins. You find, shepherds with their, sheep on the streets selling. You don't really see that in the US, and in that feeling of Eid al-Adha and sacrifice. Most people in the US, at least from my personal experience, we didn't really get to see that. So here you get to experience it, firsthand, and I found that to be really, moving, a really moving experience. SubhanAllah.
Let me ask you now, Brother Usam, what have you learned from this period of time? We've just gone through the period of Hajj. Have you learned how to sacrifice better for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala?
Of course, after Islamic feast, this is everything.
Alhamdulillah. So, Brother Zakaria, we're talking today about sacrifice. Have you noticed a change? Have you thought to yourself, okay, this is the day I'm going to sacrifice more for the sake of my God, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala?
Absolutely. Waking up early to pray Fajr, and then soon after we have Salatul Eid, going to the to the field outside, praying with everyone, meeting. Most of the people that today, I didn't know any of them yet. The happiness and joy that you see in their eyes, coming, greeting me, seeing that I'm a foreigner, yet hugging me, kissing me, it was just really, a beautiful
Exactly.
experience.
I sense, because we live in Egypt, and it's the sense of, even though you're foreign, this does not matter because we're Muslim, and all Muslims get together. That was my sense when I had my first Eid here. We all gathered together. I mean, Usama, tell us a bit about the experience of Eid.
SubhanAllah, I mean, like I've been back in Egypt for about a year and a half also. And it's the same experience. It's this idea of universal brotherhood, whether you're a foreigner or whether you're a local person. You feel it's all the same, alhamdulillah. I mean, subhanAllah, that's really one of the main messages that we learn in Hajj is the idea of brotherhood. And we talked about that, of course, yesterday extensively. So thank you guys so much for being with us here this evening. Brother Rafi, thank you so much for your time and all your work, this past week. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you greatly, inshallah.
I just want to say happy Eid to everyone, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek. Thank you so much. My dear brothers and sisters, this concludes our coverage of the day after the day of Arafah, which is the day of Eid, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. We hope you've enjoyed all of our segments, especially the kids segment. I hope all of our children out there, we hope that we helped in making you happy today, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Have a good night. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.